quite honest with you, let me see, what time is it? Okay, I want to talk about something. To be quite honest with you, it's like about eight. It's about 8:38. I'm like wide awake and shit in the morning. But moving on, the PSP, as you can tell from the title, the PSP is. I've always wanted to talk about the PSP on this channel, but never in depth. I don't have the PSP on me. I've been planning to get the PSP for quite a while. I still have some games I have left over that I've had from the PSP. Because I told myself I know eventually I will get the PSP again. That's why I kept some of the games. I didn't kept all my games, but I kept the ones that I have. I have. The ones that I kept was Dissidia, 012, um, I believe Final Fantasy 4, and I believe, hold on, I know one of them is on SmackDown vs. Raw 2009. So it's okay, I got it right here. See, I made like a case. Even back then, I was making like designs of cases. You have the Warrior of Light here, then Chaos here. I was so proud of this artwork and everything like that. Even though there was a different artwork originally and it didn't look good, and I have it right here actually. So okay, I have Final Fantasy 1, Dissidia 012, and SmackDown Raw 2009. Not the best game. I think 6 and 7 are a lot better. And I got, look at this. I got memory cards, baby. PSP memory cards. And I haven't even used these yet. Why? Because I found them and I don't even know what's in them. I think one of them is mine, but I think the other one I found out I don't even know what's in it. That is surprising. That is surprisingly. But I want to say this right now. The PSP, it is hands down still the best system that Sony has ever produced. The fact that some people said that the PSP came out or out of the wrong time, basically. And I told myself, what do you mean? It came out at the right time. It was a perfect time for the PSP to come out. But I can understand what people were talking about because the PSP is something that should have probably came out around, the PlayStation 4 era or 3 era, by the lifespan of PlayStation 3, I mean. But it's the PSP is so fucking amazing. It's still talked about to this day. It's still played to this day. The hacking for it is probably amazing. I haven't even went to that shit. But I have a DS. I have a 3DS. I have a 2DS. I have a Switch. And they're all great. I love them. I do. I enjoy my time with them and everything like that. But the PSP, hands down, is still better than all of them. It is. It is. Hands down. The fact that Sony didn't do right with the Vita is bullshit. They didn't even promote the Vita. And the thing is, people that got the Vita say it was fine. But the thing is, Sony did things for the Vita for people to look at it and be like, why? First of all, I couldn't use normal fucking memory cards to do it. Now I have to buy your stupid shit to do it. And I didn't mind how the video games were in cartridges this time around because these these can fuck up quick. If this right here is broken, that's it. That's it. Good luck playing your fucking game. And to be quite honest, guys, I have literally broken some on purpose just to take that disc out and switch with another game disc and put it in my PSP so I can actually play it. All I have to do is just tape it. More proof for that. If you want to see, the more accurate version, look at this. Look at my SmackDown vs. Raw 2009. It has an E on it because I numbered my, excuse that, that's my niece. But look at this. See, it has tape on it. That's how you know I opened this. You can see the opening here. I opened it, took it out, and it switched another game disc in there. So it still works. It works perfectly fine last time I played it. So it does a fine job. So again, going back, yes, it is a risk and you can fucking damage it. Like, I'll say this. If you open the thing all the way instead of slightly like I did, if you open it all the way, I think that's it. That's it. You could probably super glue it. You probably could tape it back together, but taping it is not really good. I recommend duct tape or black tape because the tape that I'm using is bullshit. Literally, that's why I'm barely touching it because it's like holding on a thread. Even though it's not, but I'm taking very good care of it just in case. That's how I am. And the fact that I've been keeping this for a long, long, long time says something, because I love the PSP. The PSP is one of the things that made the best part of my childhood, to be quite honest with you. Every time I was depressed, every time I was sad, I was in a dark time when the PSP came out, to be honest. And the PSP was my light, to be quite honest with you. I had the Game Boy, I did, but then I got the PSP, and then it's like eventually I did missing of the thing is too. I wanted to get the Game Boy, I wanted to get the PSP and the DS all at the same time, to be quite honest with you. It's just I never got the opportunity to until now I'm an adult, and now I have Game Boys, I have DSs, I have a PlayStation 1, I have a PlayStation 4, I have a PlayStation 3, I have a PlayStation 2. I have a Nintendo 64. I have an Atari 2600. So safe to say that, hey, once you get older, dude, you get money, and then you get things that you didn't get that you wanted to get as a kid, which is the best part of being about an adult, to be quite honest with you. Because you look back at your childhood and you look back at some things, you'd be like, oh, I wish they did this for the console, and then in the future they did something to it. I remember one, for example, you know how people, for example, who would have thought that hacking your handheld system can open so much more? Seriously, no, 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 seriously. Would you ever thought about that? Well, sure, hacking, but the fact that you could do so much with it is unbelievable. For crying out loud, there is literally a wire that I used to have. You plug that shit on your PSP, you plug that shit straight to your TV, and you use that shit, baby. You can even connect your PSP to your PlayStation 3. That's fucking amazing. The PSP was ahead of its fucking goddamn time, man. It was. It was ahead of its time. And it's funny too, because when the PSP was at its hype and it was on that ride, to be quite honest with you, to be honest, everyone that I knew had a PSP. Have seen some people that had a Game Boy and all that stuff in a DS, but you were badass if you had a PSP. People wanted the PSP. Okay? Seriously. And the fact that the sales, from what I've heard, the sales were not good for the PSP. The Game Boy was dominating at that point, which it makes sense. The Game Boy was is an old generational console, to be quite honest. The Game Boy started in the 80s. The PSP started in the 2000s, like 2000 and what, 6 or 5 or something like that, around there. I'll say 5, 6, and 7, around there. Or 4. I'll say 4, right there. I'm sure someone can tell me, you idiot, it's this, but I'm sure it's around there. But the great games on the PSP. So look, I'm a big wrestling fan. All right, I dropped off for wrestling, and sometimes I might come back and some shit like that. But overall, the wrestling games on the PSP, at least the ones I play, like SmackDown Raw 2007 and 8, I mean 7 and 6, 7 and 6 were the best games on that system. Grand Theft Auto, Grand Theft Auto, Grand Theft Auto. What is it? Grand Theft Auto Liberty City Stories, baby. Dun, 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 dun. Come on, man. And then eventually it got ported to the PS2, but a lot of people don't like the PS2 version from what I've heard, because it's all fucked up and glitchy, like it's just a cash grab, basically. Like they just forced it there just to put it there, you know. But from what I've heard. So, and we got Vice City Stories also on the PSP. They didn't. The problem that I did have with these games is that you had San Andreas that did all of these, but you didn't translate that to this. That's the only problem I had with those games. But overall, I had a great time with it. They were amazing, and they made the PSP what it is, the PSP. Okay, for crying out loud, we almost got Kingdom Hearts Dream Drop Distance on the PSP. Well, actually on the Vita, and that would have made me get the Vita. But guess what? Nintendo was like, hey man, use it for our 3DS, which was coming to a new console soon. But going back to the PSP, the PSP can play music, man. You can go online. You can get your own themes and shit like that, man. The PlayStation Store was amazing. All right, if you remembered it. the fact that the PSP is still not ran from Sony is stupid. I'm talking about the original PSP. I'm not talking about the Vita or the PSP Go. The PSP Go looked great, but once I heard it was a digital type of shit, I'm just like, no, no. It looks nice, but no. I did thought about getting the PSP phone though. What does the PSP phone do? Like, do you still need to download games on it or some shit like that? Hey, I'm still thinking about getting it no matter what. To be quite honest with you, it looks nice. You know, you know. So, maybe for a novelty or some shit like that, or just something to like, fuck with or some shit like that. But let me know with the PSP phone because I've seen a teacher had a PSP phone, and I literally thought in my head, wouldn't it be cool if we got Birth by Sleep on the PSP phone? But I think we got coded on the PSP phone, didn't we? You know, Kingdom Hearts coded on the PSP on phone. I could be gone, but moving on with that, with the different variations of the PSP, I can be here all day. But the PSP had different colors, like the Game Boy, and it was something that a lot of people liked. The PSP is a phenomenon, and it's still talked about to this day for a reason. All right, the PSP is one of those handheld consoles that that is right now, even even though Sony has stopped making PSPs and probably will never go back to handheld consoles, which is sad. Even though Sony has stopped that shit, the PSP, the original PSP, is looking at all the modern handheld consoles like the Switch and some of the DSs and everything like that. They're looking at them and they're like, I'm still the best. You haven't done shit. I still beat all of you motherfuckers. I'm still ahead of all of you guys. And that's like one thing a lot of people get pissed off with Nintendo because they're like that. Sometimes, like every time they want to go forward, they take two steps back just to spite the fans or just to spite themselves, or just, I'll say just to spite the fans, but also at the same time the cluelessness because they're old farts that don't know how to fucking walk a fucking goddamn internet. To be honest, let's all be realistic here. All right, seriously, it's the same thing with Sony, but still, it's more with freaking Nintendo than anything. I'm not being a Nintendo hater or anything like that, but we got to call a spade, right? Seriously, as much as Sony gets much hated, Nintendo deserves it too. You know, so you can have your own themes basically in your PSP, man. For crying out loud, there was monthly, like you could change color on your PS2 and everything like that. There was things that you could put monthly, and it changes monthly on your PlayStation. It did that on PlayStation 3, which was great. I love that the PlayStation 3 was basically a better PSP. That's what basically it was. Basically, when you really think about it, the PlayStation 3 and the PSP were basically the Switch before the Switch. Yeah, I said it. I said it. Yeah, sure, you had to spend more money with it when you really thought about it, but I bet you anything there was probably bundles back then with PlayStation 3s and PSPs. I bet you anything there was. I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised. That sounds like a wet dream, to be quite honest. A bundle PlayStation 3 with a fucking PSP with a free game in it? Or maybe two free games for the PlayStation 3 and for the PSP? Some people might say that's too much. But to be quite honest, if it worked for Sonic, it can work for Sony. And I guarantee you fans will eat that up and would sell like hotcakes. Stuff like that, I love. I love when companies do that because I know right there it will sell. But companies are afraid to do that because they think they're going to lose a lot of shit. If it's good and you make it good, then people will buy it. Especially if it's a product that's always been constantly good. For example, like, you know, I can't really give good examples to be honest. I mean, because people will want to complain with that. But moving on. So overall, the PSP is a masterpiece of a system, of a handheld system. it still cannot be beat. To be quite honest with you, it can't be beat. And maybe there are all people out there that are still making PSP games out there. Most people be like, what do you mean Sony's not? No, I'm not talking about Sony. I'm talking about fans in general. You know, they might be digital games that to download, or maybe they may have physical games for you to buy for them. Who knows? Who knows? I don't know. I haven't went deep into the community of the PSP ever since I dropped off from the PSP. But I tell you this, the PSP is still badass. The PSP is still a juggernaut of a giant, because that's what it is. And the sad part is that Sony, they didn't take advantage of it. They decreased it more instead of upgrading it more. I don't know what. And that is the failure of the PSP, sadly. I don't. Maybe someone in Sony thought, oh, we can't compete with Nintendo. I don't know what made you thought of that, to be quite honest. Oh, they have two systems. They have the the Game Boy, and now they have this fucking what was it, DS and shit. And I'm just like, okay, but you're still better than them, dude. You have all of this shit, and they barely have anything on those. Look at the original DSs compared to the 3DS, man. Even when you compare it to the 3DS to the PSP, it's still inferior. The PSP is better than I almost said the Switch, and in a way, it is. It is better than the Switch, and I love the Switch. I do, guys. The Switch is a gamer's wet dream, in my opinion. That is the console that I've been asking for ever since the PSP era. Okay? So, going back to, there's been some games on the PSP that has still been talked about still to this day. And some of those games still haven't been in the limelight still. That's why people like to preserve shit. And then you have fucking people want to complain saying that, oh, what do you mean preserving and shit like that? You see, I went on the internet. So what you're talking about preserving, I could just play it online. Yeah, you do realize someone had to put it online too, to preserve it, for you to play it. You dumb motherfuckers. Dumb idiots. I hate those people, man. I really do. People are idiots, man. You don't think. Did you just... Oh, I made an oopsie. That's not an oopsie. That's a retarded fucking statement. Dumb mother... Get over there. Get in the fucking goddamn corner. Dumb motherfucker. And trying to assault my intelligence. Go fuck yourself. Seriously. Shit like that. That's the shit that I'm talking about when people talk shit about some stuff. Seriously. And it comes, and sometimes, look, I don't know if there are PSP haters around there, but if you are, you're stupid. This system still holds up. Me, my sister, my brother-in-law, and my friend are still talking about this system to this day, and we're literally telling each other, we need to get this system again. Because that's how good it is. And guys, I think the PSP is getting a renaissance. Alright? Not from Sony, because Sony's not going to do shit. They're not. Most people will be like, well, if they see this, maybe they might do something. Don't give them satisfaction, guys. Don't. I don't trust Sony for this shit, man. What if they killed the PSP? What makes you think they're going to embrace some of the shit that we're doing? Come on, man. It's the same thing with Nintendo. It's every time someone makes a fan game that looks great, they automatically want to fucking rip it off. Oh, but you have the right. No, they don't. Who says that they do? It's their mascot property. Man, motherfucker, take that mascot property and shove it right up your ass. Because mostly all your fucking video game characters are from minstrel shows anyways. Seriously. Don't bullshit with me. It is. Like Mario. Mario's from a minstrel show. I'm sorry. Nintendo's racist. Sorry. Seriously, man. Come on. Do I have to go deep in that? I don't have to. You guys know this shit. Seriously. Don't fucking be fooled. Right? Seriously. Do I even have to mention there's not one color Nintendo person? Not one brother or sister that's a color? But we have Donkey Kong. And Donkey Kong is a brother. But sometimes they make him stupid, quote unquote. But when you see in the higher knowledge, you'll be like, oh, I see what you're doing. You faking him being stupid, but he's actually fucking goddamn smart. But it's kind of racist of how you fucking made us, though. Going back to the whole monkey shit. I know I got on a tangent there, but still it has to be said right there. So the PSP is an icon, man. The PSP is an icon. It's an icon. It's literally still standing on its throne because it hasn't been demolished. Why would it be? All the other consoles, including the Switchers, are looking at it and bowing down to it. Because they can't do what that console has done. They can't do what that console can do. And to be quite honest, when you really look at the Switch, okay, I love the Switch, like I said, but when you really look at the Switch, really, really good, it's going to get dated in a few years. I love the Switch. I love what it does. But compared to the PSP, it's going to get dated. People are going to look at the Switch and be like, yeah, that console didn't hold up. There's good games for it. I'm glad it exists, but that console doesn't hold up. There's a lot of consoles and a lot of video games here that don't hold up. To be quite honest. Not because, oh, people want to get offended and all that shit. No, I'm talking about, like, it's just not as good as people remember. Like Super Mario 64. No, it's fine. I just like the troll there. I know people will be like, what the fuck? But Banjo and Kazooie, that is shit. No. Oh, man. I'm just kidding, guys. I'm just kidding. Those games are actually fun. But I think we can all agree Conker's Bad Fur Day doesn't have that good controls, though. We can all agree with that. But it's still a good game, though, in my opinion, despite how some people feel about it. Oh, this is so offensive. Grow up, to be honest. Literally. No, seriously, grow up. You know? That's... And look, there's something I want to mention for the PSP also. There was a lot of things on the PSP that a lot of people found themselves, to be quite honest with you. If you, I'm going to mention that right now because I bet you anything all of you have if you guys had a PSP. Don't you lie to me. Don't you lie to me. You know you went to those dirty websites. Come on, man. You mean to tell me you didn't? You fucking lying. You're lying. You're a fucking liar. You're a fucking liar. You're a fucking goddamn liar. You're a fucking goddamn liar. I'm saying that right now. You're a fucking liar. Seriously. Even just to joke with somebody. You're a fucking liar. You know? Just saying, man. Just saying. But this console, what else can I say about it? What else can I say about it? You can play music on this shit. Okay? You can put this shit to sleep. It has a sleep mode. You can literally delete this is my experience. You can literally delete your whole file and get your file back. That's happened to me. I remember deleting all my shit and I'm like, fuck. And then all of a sudden I was just playing with the settings and shit, and all of a sudden I got all my pictures back. And I'm like, holy shit. I don't know what I did. Because I couldn't understand the settings, so that's why I was just playing with it. I wanted to understand it and everything like that. Sometimes when I don't understand how a console is or how a game is, I just fuck with it. Seriously. I just fuck with it, experiment with it, and everything like that. That's what I do with RPG Maker. If I don't know what the fuck I'm doing, I'm going to fuck with this and everything like that. And then I'll be like, oh shit, this works with this works with that. Oh, okay, I can do this and that. Oh, I'm actually getting a structure of a game here. Holy shit. Okay, I do this and that. You know? Oh man, I'm telling you, the PSP made me feel like a scientist, man. The PSP is amazing, man. The PSP is amazing. It is. And it should be talked about way more, to be honest. It's 2022, and we should be talking about this system way more. I'm dead serious. We should. Out of all the consoles we're talking about, we talk about a lot about the Game Boy and the DS. But what about the PSP? What about that? What about the PSP? And I'm not talking about the PSP Go or the Vita. I'm talking about the original PSP, baby. I'm talking about the original. What people wanted, what people saw in advertisements, and they were in awe with it. They wanted that system. Everyone wanted that system. Alright? I don't give a fuck who you were. I don't care if you were a Nintendo fan or not. Everyone wanted that system. Alright? And this whole thing of like supposedly it didn't do well. I don't know about you, but this was advertised like hell, in my opinion. You couldn't escape it. It reminded me of Godzilla 1999, 1998. You couldn't escape it. It was everywhere, man. How could you escape it? How could you escape it? Especially if you're a gamer. Imagine a movie lasting. Imagine a movie being advertised for literally decades instead of just a month or some shit. You know, for like years. The PSP deserves it justice, man. It does. I'm glad it exists. I'm glad that I'm glad we could talk about it. You know, I'm glad we could talk about it. And what's your memories on the game on the PSP on the Game Boy? But what's your memories on the PSP? I had great memories on the PSP. Playing Birth by Sleep, then playing some racing games, playing Twisted Metal Head On. Oh man. Oh my god. Playing Buzz. Playing freaking, what is it, Def Jam Fight for New York? Oh my god, guys! Guys! Playing fucking Mortal Kombat? Guys! What the fuck? And the thing is, people look at the PSP Mortal Kombat games and Tekken games and they're like, yes, these are the shit. I remember nothing but praise for those games when I was younger. I don't know how they hold up now, but when I was younger, everyone loved that shit. I loved it. That's how I got into Tekken really more during the PSP era. I have nothing but thanks to the PSP for me becoming more of a Tekken fan because of that. It's the PSP is something to be remembered, man. And it's nothing to be scoffed off and be like, well, it was just a system that, Sony did and it failed, so that's why they just stopped doing it. No. It was successful. That's why they kept making other ones. But they weren't good as the original because they kept downgrading it. That's all they kept doing, downgrading it. And then this is their excuse. And I still hate that excuse. That's why I hate that there's a fucking digital shit for the PlayStation. Oh, you guys are just not ready for digital. No, we're pissed off that you're making it digital because shit can get lost forever, you idiot. That's why we get upset. We don't mind digital. We just mind that shit can get lost like this. So what's the point? What's the fucking goddamn point? What's the point of me giving you my fucking goddamn money? Might as well wipe my ass with it. To be quite honest with you. Seriously. Gamers like me are thinking like this shit, and we're like, why should we spend our money on that type of shit? That's why I have Final Fantasy 8 and 9. I have the digital versions, but I have the physical versions. The reason I got the digital versions is because I don't give a shit if they're gone, because I got the originals. But look, that's most people. That's some people. But if you don't got the originals, then hey, you're fucked. And some of those originals are expensive as fuck. That's a whole nother situation for another day. I don't even have to talk about that. But all I have to say is that the PSP is something literally you should get. If you are new to the gaming scene, the PSP is the way to go. You might not even go back, to be quite honest with you. You might just play all the PSP games and be like, and play them again. There's some, of course, there's some bad PSP games out there, but there's a lot of good ones. There's a lot of good PSP games. There's tons of good libraries of PSP games, man. All right, seriously. There's a good Castlevania games on the PSP, man. Seriously, really, truly, you know. And they also have the remakes of Final Fantasy 1 and 2, which are the definitive versions that people like to play now. So look at that, So there's so many stuff. There's so many shit. There's so many shit. The only thing that we didn't get on the PSP, at least from what I saw, is a Dragon Quest game. Did we got a Dragon Quest game on the PSP? I would have loved a Dragon Quest game on the PSP. Now, if there is, don't tell me that, because I'll fucking buy the PSP right now. I'm dead serious. I'm dead fucking serious. I don't give a shit if that is Japan. No, I'm serious. I'm crazy for Dragon Quest. I love Dragon Quest. Without Dragon Quest, there won't be no Kingdom Hearts, no Final Fantasy, and no other RPGs like Persona and Shin Megami. Yeah, I said it. So I know I went up and down with this video, guys. I apologize. That's just the way this channel is sometimes, man. Some people love it, some people hate it. That's fine. The ones that love it, I appreciate you. The ones that don't, I'm sorry that I made you feel like you wasted your time, but you didn't, man. You just wanted to hear someone's opinion, And if you came here to hear that, I respect you for that. Either man or woman, it doesn't matter. So I hope you guys do enjoy this little talk, this video, and stuff like that. Because the PSP is outrageous beautiful. It is. It's beautiful. And it feels right to have on your hands. I know I don't have it on me, but just remembering it, feeling on your hands is just great. It is. It's great. It really is. It's great. And the PSP is well worth the price of admission, to be quite honest with you. It is well worth the money. I recommend it. I really do. Hell, people around my circle recommend it. And I guarantee you, if you got a PSP, I guarantee you everyone will start looking at you and be like, yo, the PSP, I remember that shit. That shit was awesome. That shit was my shit. And the new generation will look at that and be like, what the fuck is that? What is that? Because some of the new generation don't know about the PSP, to be quite honest with you. Some of them are looking back at some consoles. They're like, what's the PSP? So the PSP is getting more of a fan base, more of a limelight, which is a good thing. It is good. But right now, looks like the old school fans are looking at the PSP and we're like, we'll come back, bro. We'll come back. Let's come back. Let's come back. So give me your guys' thoughts and your opinions about the PSP. What's your memories on the PSP? And what do you like the PSP a lot more? What was your favorite thing about the PSP in general? The first model of the PSP was kind of bulky, so it was kind of hard to put on your pocket. But the second edition was great. Slippery, but great. And it was durable. So both were durable, actually. So if it fell on the floor, it didn't crack right away. You know how many times I dropped mine and it was good? Those shits are actually durable. I feel like if I grabbed my PSP and threw it in the ground, it'd still be good. That's how much I feel like it's great and durable. Kind of reminds me of the old brick Game Boy. Like you just throw it in the ground and it still works. I don't know. Yeah. You know how they say they just don't make them like they used to? Yeah, it's like that. All right. I'll see you guys and be safe.